Yeah, I want to ask you about permitting reform because, as you say, it does seem to be a problem of environmental review, at least in the legal system, run amok. But environmental objectives and transportation objectives are at odds there for the Democrats. And is a Democratic president, are Democratic members of Congress willing to say, we've got to do a little bit less on the environmental side in order to achieve these other objectives? I mean, because that does involve taking on one of your key constituencies, doesn't it?
Well, I'm a huge environmentalist. I'm also one of the only members of Congress with a degree in science, so I very much understand the importance of all of this. But I think that where the opportunity for political compromise is to say, let's look at lessening the NEPA requirements for a project that is fundamentally good for the environment, like all electric high-speed rail gets a lot of people not only out of their cars by giving them another option, or out of fuming planes by giving them another option, but also incentivizes the kind of urban centers with walkable communities that are just much more sustainable sustainable growth. So there are multiple levels at which high-speed rail is better for the environment, not just direct emissions, but in all the other things about how we live and how we get to train stations and things like that, that affect our overall environmental picture. So we should be able to step back and say, look, if this is fundamentally good for the environment, then why are all these projects getting delayed and costs rising exponentially because of the environmental reviews? Now, look, on the other hand, if the environmental review process is holding up a major highway expansion, then that's probably a good thing, because expanding highways is not only a terribly inefficient way to move people. Most highway expansions in the United States in the last 20 years have actually resulted in more congestion, literally going more slowly on our highways. And we can get into that in more detail. But the bottom line is that these highway expansions are terrible for the environment. They take up an extraordinary amount of land. They increase emissions, they increase congestion. And so if the environmental review process makes us scrutinize those projects, then that's absolutely the right thing to do.